Good morning everyone and welcome to today's video. So I thought I would show you guys how I do some of my skinning and tanning here on the ranch. So I like to do projects with hide or bones and things just for study purposes and curiosity's sake and interest sake. So right now I'm trying to do one of all the different tails of our plains game. So I've done a wildebeest tail and today I'm doing a zebra tail. From a zebra I shot for rations the other day. Well, not the other day, this morning. So I just thought I would show you guys how I do it, and at least then, because this method, the tanning method, works for all hides, and then you'll get to see the skinning method on a tail. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I like to use a box or carpet cutter, which is this little guy right here. So it's not a knife, it has changeable blades, and the cool thing is when your one blade gets worn, it's only worn on the end you've been using, so you can often take the blade out like this and then turn it around and use the other side and it'll be just as sharp. So this one came with 6 extra blades, so really you've got 12 blades because you can turn them, and they're really sharp. So be safe if you use this, or whatever you use, you do not want to lose some fingers. Okay, so as you guys can see, I have my tail out on the tail, and what you want to do is turn it upside down so the stripes are on the bottom, and then do a straight cut, or as straight as you can make it. I still get that wrong sometimes. From the top all the way down to the bottom. You might struggle to find the end a little bit with all the hair, but you'll be able to feel it if you just give it a good feel around. And then basically what you want to start doing is skinning between the meat and the skin, working your way around the meat part of the tail. Obviously you want to be careful so you don't cut through the hide. Zebra skin is not too thick, so it can happen quite easily, especially near the top where I am now. That black soft skin is very easy to cut, so just take it slow. There's no reason to rush, and you just work your way around until you've essentially peeled all the skin away from the meat using your carpet cutter. And then, as you guys can see, once you get near the end, you should be able to just grab the meat and split it from the tail. I had left a little bit of the skinning work at the bottom undone, so I had to go back in there and fix that. So I just had to cut that little extra bit, and then as you can see, it split right away. So you can do whatever you want with that meat. I'll probably put it one side to pack it and feed puppies or the grown dogs. And then I went back to the skin and just cut the top till it was a straight curve. It hadn't been straight when we cut it off the zebra. And then you want to take your blade and just cut away any bits of meat that may have stayed on. Don't feel bad if you left meat behind. I've been skinning for a long time and I still do this. Just go in there and clean it up as best as you can, and if there's any small little bits left, don't worry about it. They will get taken care of through the tanning process. Okay everyone, so this is the zebra tail, completely skinned. As you can see, the inside is flat and mostly clean. There's still a few tiny bits of meat there that I struggle to get off, but don't worry about those. Throughout the rest of the process it will get cleaned up, but you want it to be mostly clean, mostly white, all the way down to the bottom. Here's the back side, it's nice and smooth. And then once we've skinned it, what we want to do is put it in a brine solution overnight. So a brine solution is basically a salt and water mix, just to clean it, and the salt will kill any bugs and things that might be in the hair, and yeah, really just to give it a nice clean up before we cure it. So I make my brine solution by mixing water with coarse salt. This is very coarse unrefined salt. We can buy it in 50 kg bags in town, specifically for use with skins, etc., but really any salt will do. And this is a 10-liter container, and I put three double handfuls of salt in, 3 big ones. So we're just going to fill this up with water and then put the tail in. Okay, so when you put water into the container, make sure that you mix it until all the salt is dissolved into the water, or else it won't work. My salt is quite dirty because I've used it a number of times over, which you can do without it being a problem. Morning everyone, it is the next morning. Please excuse the bad light quality. I have a bunch of stuff to do today, so we have to do this video in the kitchen light of 5:30 a.m. darkness. Anyways, I've got my tub here and my newly washed zebra tail, which looks very sorry for itself right now, but this is part of the process. Okay. As you guys can see, all the white has gone a little bit whiter, and you can't really see any of that red meat now, obviously because it's been sitting in the brine. So all we're going to do is take it out and let it drip dry for a little while, and then we'll come back and finish it off for the next part. Okay, so it's been a few hours and the tail has drip dried. We have a chair. So what we want to do next is wash it, and then we'll dab dry it, and then we'll get on to the curing process. Okay, so I give it a good rinse off in some cold water, not ice cold, just like room temperature, straight from the tap cold. Then I dab dried it, and then I went back in with a knife just to clear off any excess bits of meat or anything that was hanging around, just to make it as clean as I possibly could. And then here's our tail all done and finished, looking white and clean and mostly smooth and ready for what comes next. Okay, so for tanning, I use egg yolks. So usually when you tan, you'll use the brain from the animal as a perfect tanning curing mix, but that's a bit inconvenient to have to take and keep and work with. So I use egg yolks. In a perfect world, I would be using egg yolks from my own chickens, which I did used to have, but all my own chickens got eaten by my dogs who broke into chicken coop. So I will get more, but in the meantime, you can be like me and steal eggs from your mother's fridge. But you don't have to call it stealing, just borrowing with no return. So separate the eggs from the whites. You can keep the whites, use them for whatever you feel like. I'll do a video on what I do with all my egg whites at some point. And then you've got to take the egg yolks and rub it onto the tail, quite generously. So I wish I could tell you guys who came up with the egg yolk replacement, but I honestly have no idea, and frankly I didn't look it up, because if it works, it works. So you just want to go in there. I used 4 egg yolks on the skin, which sounds like a lot, but obviously you want there to be quite a bit so that it soaks into the hide really, really well. And go in there, rub it in. When it looks like you've put enough, put some more. And this is what it looks like all yolked up. And then we take a damp cloth and put that on top. And the purpose of this is so that the egg yolks don't dry out. Because if they dry up on the skin, they obviously won't get soaked in by the skin. So that just put it aside and set your reminder for 2 days time. And then we'll open it up and see how it looks. But the amount of yolk you use and the amount of time it's curing really just depends on the skin. Zebra skin is not very, very thick, but let's say we were doing a buffalo, would be thicker skin. So it just depends on how thick the hide is, and that's going to determine how much egg yolk you use and how long it has to sit to cure. But for the tail, I like to leave it for 2 days. I used 4 egg yolks and I used almost all of it. And don't forget, just apply generously, and I'll see you guys in 2 days time. Good morning everyone. So we are doing another pre-sunrise video because I've got a lot to do today and this is just the best time to get it done. So before we carry on, the zebra tail unfortunately came to an end because it was in my room drying with the egg yolk. And then Brigade, if you guys follow me on Instagram, you know Brigade is one of the latest puppies that I have. She's about 7 months old now. She's black. She climbed out of the kennel and then into the house through an open window and then into my room and proceeded to eat it and annihilate it until there was nothing left. So, unfortunately, no zebra tail. However, the concept is the same one way or the other. So, I've brought out my wildebeest tail, which I did before to show you guys. So, this is what the zebra tail should have been looking like. As you can see, it's dry, it's still a bit flexible. It is a little bit stiff, but the more you work it, the less stiff it will become. And yeah, fully preserved and ready for action. Okay, so that is how you do a tail with the egg yolk method. And you can do all hides, but obviously the bigger and the thicker, the more egg yolks you guys are going to require. So thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share, and I will see you next Saturday.